like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you know I love the Floor Meisters in Naples. Locally family-owned business, 3 generations of Meisters. Listen, what are you looking for? Carpet, tile, hardwood, a Core-Tech? Maybe that's what you're looking for. And why don't we talk to TJ Meister right now of the Floor Meisters and find out what's going on with Core-Tech. What's up, TJ?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Core-Tech. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the West Coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
I tell you, I love my Core-Tech floor. People love it. What is it about it that makes it so awesome?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
Floor Meisters, that's who I trust, and you should as well. 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples. 239-596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do.
Thank you for giving us a voice.
For being out there helping keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for
your support for veterans in the military.
Educating us.
Standing up for conservatism.
Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. So glad you're joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele. Big D is over there on the other side of the glass. Nina's in the breaking newsroom right now, and you hanging out with us if you're watching at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. Coming up in a couple of minutes, we will have our friend Mike Lyons, military analyst, join us because I got a lot of questions about exactly what was going down with this attack on these Russian targets by Ukraine. A lot of questions about this. I know you go on social media and it says World War III. It said it a few times in the past 6 months or so, or year or so. It feels like it's always up there. Let's hope this isn't the... No. All right. We'll get to the details because something just doesn't seem right. And this is an honest show. We're about honesty and common sense and the truth and the facts. And that's what we do here. So you're going to get a lot of that today. And coming up in just a little bit, obviously, lots of Florida news to talk about. The governor was out today, and a lot of things to discuss, including getting ready for hurricanes, including getting ready for some other things that we're doing here in the state as well, with regard to some bills that were signed and some changes that are going to be happening here in the state. Always important to get on top of all of those things. All right, Monday, we got to check in with Big D, see how the weekend was quickly as we begin the show. How was your weekend? Was it okay? Was it good?
Weekend was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll tell you how I started the weekend, and then it'll give you an idea of why I'm a little feisty today. I'm feisty for a lot of different reasons. No.
I think a lot of us do too.
Yeah, no, you like feisty, Drew, because I get crazy and amped up more amped up than I usually get. So the weekend started off with me saying, you know what? I'm going to wake up on Saturday morning and I'm going to have a bagel. I haven't had a bagel in a long time. I bite into said bagel and I chip my tooth. How do you chip your tooth on a bagel?
So I was just about to ask that.
So right now, it's bad enough that I've got, if you watch at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook, and it's an honest program and I'm an honest person. It's bad enough that I got this huge gaping gap in the front of my mouth here. It's like I could probably hit the side of a house from 100 feet if you just put enough water in my mouth. That's how big the gap is. Bad enough there. Now I got the bottom tooth that, and you know, and you probably all have been through this. You know when you chip your tooth and it feels like a razor blade? Now it's like I kiss my wife and boom, there's a thing on her lip. I kiss, I just rub my tongue on it and anyway, I don't want to start the show this way, but I have to because that's how the weekend started out. And then all the news stories that didn't make it any better. As a matter of fact, the news stories that were coming out, unfortunately for us, just made it worse.
All right, breaking this morning, new details on what the FBI is calling a targeted terrorist attack in Boulder, Colorado. At least 8 people injured in the attack on a peaceful march in support of the Israeli hostages held in Gaza. Smoke rising from the scene where the FBI says a man used a makeshift flamethrower and threw an incendiary device into the crowd. Witnesses describe bystanders using water to douse the burn victims. Seen on video carrying 2 bottles.
Molotov cocktails.
Police say he shouted, "Free Palestine."
He did. And there's that. So we had that situation that took place over the weekend. The governor was out today and he was making mention about the fact that, wait a second, he was not here legally in this country, and maybe we have some questions about that.
Why are we letting people like this guy into the country from Colorado? He should have never been here to begin with, and he sure as hell should have been sent home when this visa expired. And this is the wages of having basically an open border for 4 years under the previous administration. But this whole thing and you saw it starting on October 7th, you saw what's happened at our universities, you've seen attacks against Jews, you saw the 2 Israelis in DC, you see this Colorado. This is really sick, but we've got to take this seriously, and you shouldn't be allowing this, having policies that allow this to foment. I do think that there's a lot that goes on, quite frankly, in some of the lies that get spread in the media that probably get some of these guys wound up. But this guy into the country from Colorado.
Yeah. So the governor talking about the terrorist attack that took place there in Colorado, and the comments that he made right there, the wages of having an open border for years under the previous administration, he's right. The media and some of the lies that they have told, that one tweaked a few people, got some people a little upset that he would say something like that. And obviously, when you hear that, then right away you're like, well, you have to come up with some examples. Oh, we've got some that we'll give you coming up in just a bit about how the media maybe didn't do exactly the right thing when it came to this situation. As a matter of fact, let me just tease one for you right now if I can find this. I'll tease this one up, and then maybe this will help for you to understand when the governor says something like that. Like, what is he talking about? How dare he say something like that? Like, the media doesn't help this along. And what could they possibly say in a situation like this? Well, here's CNN and something that they said as this was breaking news. So this is breaking. They're seeing this live on CNN yesterday afternoon. And so instead of taking a step back and giving people the facts, the information, the truth, everything that has happened and transpired up to this point, somehow they have to have some kind of commentary that goes like...
Chief comes out and says, we don't have 2 + 2 = 4 yet. In other words, this is obviously an anti-Semitic attack, and the victims were obviously part of that group.
Talking about the police chief there in Boulder, Colorado, who was saying that the attacker is an adult male, but they don't really know what's going on yet. This was not too long after video went all over social media that we could play for you of this assailant and exactly what he said about end Zionism and free Palestine and some of the things, holding a Molotov cocktail. And
therefore, we're not calling it terrorism. It adds a lot of, it's not good for the community. It's not good for the potentially targeted community. It makes law enforcement look disorganized, and it makes the FBI look so juvenile. Like, why are you getting ahead of the police chief who says, I don't know what this is? It sounds, maybe it is what we all think it is, but maybe it's not. And he has no incentive to get it wrong.
No, he doesn't have any incentive to get it wrong, but he does have all the incentive to get it right. And early on, when you have video of this assailant saying all the things I described and then some, and then admitting to all of this, then ultimately, when you hear this story and you have CNN's Juliet Kaye, who says that the FBI looks juvenile for calling the Boulder, Colorado incident a terror attack, that's not a good look. So that's another part of the story, and we'll get to that more coming up. And by the way, usually we start the show and we have a little bit more fun on the show than usual, and other places that you may go to listen and watch this program. But unfortunately, it's kind of starting off on a serious note because there's a lot of serious news that took place over the weekend. But don't worry, there'll be a lot of other things that we're going to get to, including a lot of breaking woke news stories that are out there that we should get to coming up in just a little bit. Major Mike Lyons is going to be joining us shortly in just a little bit here on Florida's Voice, so we can talk a little bit about what took place in Russia over the weekend as well. And some of the other stories that we were following, including one that I wanted to talk about last week, because I did notice this as well. Man, it was good to see some rain for the past couple of days. It's so nice to see the falling of the water from the sky here in the state of Florida. I don't want to say I was getting worried, but my lawn was getting worried. My neighbors were getting worried about their lawns, but still, the conditions that have been going on here across the state of Florida, and to see some rain over the weekend, and now it's feeling like we're ramping up and getting to the point at which we're used to getting to here in the state of Florida, including some of the love bugs that are coming back. Yeah, there's a story on that. The Orlando Sentinel had a story about love bugs are back, hurricanes are coming. Hold on, Florida. That's from Scott Maxwell, who put that up. There's a little humor in there, a little dig against the Republicans, too. It's a weird thing how that works, but we'll get to that in just a second. Do we have Mike Lyons on with us right now on Florida's Voice, military analyst, joining us? It's always a pleasure to have him on the program with us, as we've got some serious times going on right now, and he is the man that I pivot to when I need answers to questions that, and I have a lot in my head right now, Mike, so I got a lot of things I got to ask you. First of all, how are you, sir? It's good to see you.
Hey, Drew, great to see you. Thanks for having me back.
So, I guess for those that don't know what took place, maybe they had a busy weekend and they just didn't hear, although if you go on social media, all you see is World War III. Here we go again with the talk. I mean, this was stunning what took place, and maybe describe to people exactly what happened.
Yeah, absolutely, on a couple different levels. After about a year and a half planning, the Ukraine government decides to finally put together a drone swarm attack that went after Russian strategic bombers that were stationed well inside of Russia. They did it with guile and audacity. What they did was they put drones in containers and carts and had Russian drivers drive them through deep into Russia, and then at that point released them on command, where they then were sent after their targets there. Hundreds of them. They were each individually targeted. Probably spent maybe $50,000 in total to do this, and destroyed about $7 billion worth of Russian assets. So to give you a historical analysis, I'm not sure it was Pearl Harbor, but more like a Doolittle's raid. Showed capability that Russia could not defend from, that they hadn't thought of. This was a lack of imagination on their part. Didn't think that their aircraft would ever be attacked, and a lot of guile and audacity on the side of Ukraine.
Yeah. So a couple of things come to mind when I saw this. So the first thing is, wow, an attack like this, I'm highly doubtful that Ukraine could do this themselves. In other words, you really have to know a lot about not only the best way to attack with weapons that we're going to talk about as well, because the fact that we're spending money on ships and jets and the like, when the warfare of the future was just put out there on display, which we'll get to in just a bit. But not just that, right? The way they attacked. But somebody mentioned to me over the weekend, so these were where they attacked, they were holding the doomsday, the nuclear devices. Is that correct? So the assumption is they had to know that there weren't any in there, right? You almost think to yourself, wow, because how did they know or not know that there could have been a nuclear device there when they attacked? That would have been, I can't even imagine. I can't put my head around that, but it does beg the question, the intelligence, the kinds of things that they knew seems sophisticated. I'm just trying to think of the right way to put this.
Yeah, they likely had some human intelligence on the ground that verified what specifically was in the planes. But the fact that they were in the open wasn't that unusual from an operational perspective. I saw reports that said that Russia and the United States are required to keep those planes open. That's just not the case. They do it from an operational perspective in case they have to get into the air. They just never thought they would be attacked. They're not necessarily loaded for bear. Those are Tupelo bombers that they're back from the Cold War days. I mean, those were the ones that we were initially very much worried about, that were going to attack Western Europe at the height of the Cold War, and even the west part of California coming down the coastline. And so they just thought that they were off limits. They didn't think anybody was going to be able to attack them. So maybe if there were nuclear weapons inside of those, I don't necessarily think that would have created a nuclear explosion, so to speak. But again, it's likely that they store them offline in different places, and then they offload them when they need them.
Yeah, and obviously the next question before we move on about this is the implications here. So you have first of all, the way that Trump was talking about Putin recently, even not liking the things that have been going on. You know, you kind of felt like, all right, you got Trump in office. There's a glide path here towards peace. And now all of a sudden you feel like nobody wants it. What's going on here? So what happens next?
Yeah, I'm waiting for some signal from the Trump administration here. They've been quiet. And you saw Chancellor Merz over the weekend say that Ukraine's got a green light to attack well inside of Russia. I'm not sure he was giving away the game there. I don't necessarily think Zelensky told many of the European allies this is what he was doing either. It would have been too much of a secret. But, you know, the satellite imagery likely came from, you know, Western sources, and the fact that they were able to probably to a 14-digit grid, which means they could, you know, put a bomb or put a drone inside a 55-barrel drum from 2,500 miles away. Pretty significant technology advancement. So that all came from the West, and that's likely where this, you know, where the main inclusion was when it came to the West being involved. The Ukraine has got tremendous capacity and capability to create drones. They have this now as a niche, and they finally, we've seen what a swarm formation looks like. It's terrifying on some level from the United States' perspective. I hope we woke up a little bit and are now looking at Chinese container ships that are off our coasts in the East and the West, because they could be holding the same kind of weapons platforms that could go after our critical infrastructure and bridges and the like, and cripple us if they decide to, for example, go after Taiwan. So again, it's a wake-up call for everybody, and a lot of people in the Pentagon, I'm sure, cleared their desks over the weekend and this morning and are now figuring out new ways forward.
Yeah, you stole my conversational thunder right there, which is exactly where I wanted to go, and that's okay. If it's coming from you, I'm glad, because here's the next question, and maybe we expand on this a little.
Yeah,
that's it, right? That is the next stage of warfare. You just described it, and I have to believe that we see that. I mean, maybe like you said, this is a wake-up call, but certainly we had to be thinking about this. When you have I can't even imagine, if you have a swarm of drones that are coming at you,
right?
How do you defend with a jet or a ship? Like, how do you do that? So is it, have we thought about this?
No, we have. I could give you some ideas here. So in the past, the air defense platforms were one-to-one. A Patriot missile shot down an incoming missile that was coming from the enemy towards either towards an aircraft or towards someplace on the ground, let's say. However, this is now one-to-many, and that's the difference with regard to this weapon system. And it's going to take different systems than just the kinetics that we have there. I think you're looking at EMP. You're going to look at directed energy, you know, laser beams, so to speak. I think that's where this is going to go to. Now, that has other occupational hazards to it, and there's other things that have to be considered. But this is now going to open up a whole different version of protecting the airspace and protecting assets you have on the ground coming from swarming drones. You know, every time I watch one of those swarming drone light shows that you see, you know, from Disney World or whatever, I go, you know what? They could be an explosive on each one of those things and could head towards something. I guess we saw it a little bit on Iron Man, one of those Iron Man movies.
Right.
So again, it's going to take the same type of creativity to think about the defenses of that. It's going to be one-to-many as opposed to one-to-one. And I think you're going to, again, see EMP, electromagnetic pulse. That's what that means. Directed energy, laser, all other kinds of ways to knock out and take those drone platforms out.
Wow. So a lot to take in. All right, Mike, always great to see you. And by the way, for those listening for the first time across the state of Florida, we are kindred spirits because of our love for the New York Islanders hockey team, which, by the way, the state of Florida doing pretty well right now when it comes to hockey. Just so everybody understands, we respect and we get that. But we have a team that we love in the New York Islanders that I'm a little confused right now. I'm a little worried about. Yeah. How do you feel?
Two things. First of all, Florida Panthers, though, owned by a West Pointer, Vinny Viola. So we're very high on the Panthers. We'd like to see the Stanley Cup come back to West Point. That would be very important. Number two, I'm a little humble brag here. I was in the penalty box when Ovi scored that goal against the Islanders. I'm sure you had to watch the game. So, and that puck came through me, so I did touch the puck, and it was pretty interesting. It's pretty historic, to watch that. And again, I think it's only hockey that comes up with. But we have a new GM with the Islanders this year. Yeah. The coach is going to stay. Patrick Roy is going to stay. And the season's just around the corner. Even though let's get through the Stanley Cup, let's get the Panthers winning, and let's bring that Stanley Cup back to West Point.
There you go. All right, Mike Lyons, always great to see you. All the best. God bless. See you soon.
Thanks, Joe.
I appreciate you. Anytime you want to follow him at MAJ Mike Lyons on X, he's a great follow and important to keep an eye on now more than ever because he gets it. He understands exactly what is going on militarily. He knows what is to come and just some of these things that we have to keep an eye on and explore. And listen, and he gets Florida hockey, which is a good thing too, even though he's an Islanders guy like I am. But that's okay. We get it. We respect. Tell you what, it's just so awesome. They are. Panthers. Awesome. All right, what else do we have going on here at Florida's Voice? Hit me. Sorry, for those that don't know, if you're tuning in for the first time, one of our great affiliates across the state, that's the transition music, because I like to go from one topic to another with the kind of Seinfeld in-between music. I don't know, just makes me feel better about changing subjects, topics. D gets it, right, D? You've always, it's one of those things you thought it was weird when you first joined me, and then all of a sudden it's like, can't live without it.
I love it.
Yeah, it's good. All right, one of the few things that D loves. The other thing he's that he's a fan of is when I mess up. Another thing that you'll realize during the show that happens every once in a while is when I mess up, I own it. If I'm wrong about something, I don't mind getting fact checked. Go ahead, D, hit the fact check button.
Drew Steele, fact check.
Yeah, and if you ever hear that, that means he's going to pick up the mic and call me out on something. And I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with it. One thing I do have a problem with is love bugs. Love bugs are back. Hurricanes are coming. Yeah, that's right. I mean, they may be. Scott Maxwell at the Orlando Sentinel was writing about how the bugs are back as he was driving around the state in South Florida. And he was talking about how it's unusual because they've dwindled in recent years. And he said the bugs can no longer afford home insurance premium in the state. I get it. Very funny, Scott. Funny stuff. But there are a couple of things about the love bugs. Just when you think they've kind of dwindled a little bit. No. Because when they're here and when they hit, it's usually, it's a mess. Everybody knows. You've lived here long enough. I've been in the state of Florida 40 years. Everybody knows the love bugs are like, please. What are you doing here? And what purpose do you serve? Nothing. Nobody eats them, right? Nobody enjoys it. It's not even like we can take them and cook them up in a pan, because that's what they want, D. They want us to take the love bugs and there's probably some crazy Florida lefties that are like, you could probably eat them if you fry them. You know, those kind of people. Nope. No, exactly. No, those are the ones that want you to eat the cicadas when they come out of the earth every 10 years or whatever it is. They're like, hey, eat them. No. I'm not eating them. But then the other part was about the insurance premiums in the state. I'm looking at the time, and I want to be fair on this, but there is a little news about that. And some of you may or may not realize this, but there is some good, positive news when it comes to premiums, when it comes to insurance, property insurance in the state. Really? Is there? I don't know. We're going to talk about that a little bit coming up because I know for some people it's like, really, it's hard to believe. But truly, since 22, when the legislature here in the state of Florida did something about homeowners' property insurance here in the state, the talk was that it was going to get better, that it was going to stabilize, and it has to a degree. I know some of you don't feel it, but we'll talk about that coming up and more. My name is Drew Steele. This here is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and I have to tell you, when my wife and I talked about getting new kitchen countertops for our house, we know who to call. Rock Solid Countertops and More, 2240 J&C Boulevard in Naples. And they have been absolutely amazing. Hugo and the team are the best. The workmanship has been absolutely incredible. The install was so easy. The process was perfect. Taking everything out, bringing the new stuff in. The quartz countertop is unbelievably beautiful, and my wife is super happy, I'll tell you. You know they have the best quality and selection of marble, quartz, granite, and a one-stop shop for all of your kitchen, outdoor, and bathroom needs. I've known it for years. I've lived in Southwest Florida 40 years. There was really only one place I was going to go. It's rock-solid countertops and more. I would suggest you give them a call, 596-7676. They're at 2240 JNC Boulevard in Naples. Find out what they can do for you. Countertops, cabinets, plantation shutters, they do it all. Rock solid countertops and more.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into. And that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection, and hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world, from bow and arrow to hook and bullet. As man evolved, our link to those traditions remain with them forever. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. The misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it, or leading a war against our heritage and their misguided policies and protests. They demonize hunters and belittle our way of life, the results of hunters leaving the sport in droves, while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wild lands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system, a system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, anytime you want to call, 866-588-8303. That's our phone number, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. We are live. We would love to hear from you. So anytime you want to call, 866-588-8303. You can also watch at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. All right, let's find out what's going on right over there on the other side of the wall. It's the Florida's Voice Newsroom. We call this Top of the News.
Top of the News, Florida's headlines. Now.
All right, let's see what they're working on over there in the Florida's Voice Newsroom. We've got Anita Padilla today. Yeah, there she is. What's up?
Hey, Drew, here's what's happening in the Florida's Voice newsroom at this hour. Squatters beware. Come July 1st, you're not going to be able to move in and take over commercial businesses any longer in the state of Florida. That's because Governor Ron DeSantis just signed off on 2 new bills that make it easier for local sheriffs to remove you from commercial properties. Senate Bills 322 and 606 clears the way for fast action protecting owners that have had to go through quite a lengthy legal system to get these squatters out. But not anymore come July 1. If you recall, DeSantis did sign off on a similar bill following last session, the legislative session. Yep. But that one was dealing with people who were squatting in residential homes. And apparently it was also happening to restaurants and hotels. So these new laws address those issues, with Governor DeSantis saying Florida doesn't tolerate squatters and this will streamline the process to get them removed. A Naples man is suing to stop an outdoor drag show claiming it could harm disabled children. Now, this lawsuit is not against the Pride Fest organizers in Naples, but instead it's against the city of Naples, its mayor, the Naples City Council, as well as the federal district judge, John Steele, and Governor Ron DeSantis. Darren Dion Aquino, a disability rights advocate, filed the federal lawsuit seeking to block the June 7th event organized by Naples Pride, and he argues that the city failed to consider the rights of disabled children under the Americans with Disabilities Act and claims the show could cause irreversible harm. Now, this lawsuit does come after a federal judge ruled in favor of Naples Pride last month, saying that the event is protecting free speech. Aquino says his concerns are different, though. He's focusing on public safety and vulnerable populations. A new judge is expected to decide soon on his lawsuit and whether the event can go forward as planned. Delray Beach and Clearwater beaches are among the top Florida beaches, so says USA Today. Out of 825 beaches, Delray claims the top spot for serene coastline with crystal blue waters just steps away from a vibrant downtown. Other notable cities with great beaches include Treasure Island Beach, Lauder by the Sea, Stewart Beach, Bowman's Beach, St. Pete Beach, Siesta Beach, Destin, and Anastasia State Park. And the website says they used an expert panel to first nominate their favorites, and then the readers determined the winners. All right, I'll be back at 4:35 to tell you about the latest Democrat tossing his hat into the race for Florida's Attorney General and why the Florida GOP is already slamming his candidacy. That's in our next hour. I'll see you then. I'm Anita Padilla, the news director at Florida's Voice. Drew, back over to you.
All right, hey, Pete, we appreciate you there in the Florida's Voice newsroom. And anytime you want to check out the stories that they're working on, it's right there, flvoicenews.com. That's the website. You can see it. And we'll talk more about some of the stories that they're working on, including what the governor had to say today. You know, the squatter thing is just crazy how that happens around the country. And there's a lot of things we see going on around the world and around the country that we don't see happening here. That's called good governance. That's because we get ahead of it. Typically, the governor and the legislature is good at that. Making sure that we're kind of proactive as opposed to reactive here in the state, which is a good way to be. Although lately, the legislature and the governor, maybe there's a couple of little things going on. Tomorrow's supposed to be the day, right? Where we're really going to get to it and we're going to get close. My fingers are thinly spread apart if you're watching. If not, don't worry about it. We're kind of close to getting everything settled with the budget and the tax issue and everything else. So we'll talk about that coming up as well. All right, some other things I'm watching include the failure of the Democrats. There it is. That's all. I can pack it up right. Good night, everybody. Have a good day. Right. That's right there. That's all we need. The failure of the Democrats, and everybody knows it's like that encompasses that period. Full stop. That encompasses everything. A lot of different things. How? Well, I could prove to you how it encompasses a lot of things. Let's start with this. I'm fascinated to see how the media plays this, because as Big D's on the other side of the glass, he's my ombudsman. He's the guy who he's like an ordinary guy, lives an ordinary life. He's like the song from the 80s, Somebody's Watching Me. He's just an average guy who lives an average life. You know which song I'm talking about, D? Hey, yeah, I paid the price. You know what song? Somebody's watching me.
I don't know those lyrics. I know the chorus.
Yeah, somebody's watching me. Okay, well that's how the song goes. You're just an average guy living an average life, and so
I'll take that as a compliment.
It is. Well, I mean that in the best way, because what you do is you work really hard here when you're working at Florida's Voice, and then after the show is done, it's like goodbye. He's out and he's barbecuing. He's hanging out with the family. He's doing his whole thing, which it should be the case. So then I asked someone who had a fantastic weekend and doing that kind of thing, are you still concerned or thinking about Joe Biden's mental acuity? Like, haven't you forgotten about this? Like, it is. It's a done deal. Everybody knows it happened. Everybody knows it was there. There's nothing else to talk about. You can keep bringing up the book, the Jake Tapper book, but at the end of the day, we all know what's going on here. So you're done with the topic, right? Pretty much?
I thought I was done.
Okay, wait. Let me put
that newest video that we came out that we played last week about him saying, "Oh, I'll beat them both. Why didn't they run against me?" And
yeah, well,
I had no idea what he was talking about.
Let me put it a different way. How about after this weekend? Are you done? Because
I hope I'm done.
No, you're not. That's the answer. The answer is
I love a nice, viral, funny, entertaining Biden clip now and then, but it almost pains me to make fun of him with his situation now. So
no,
I hope it's done.
It's
I
true.
Hope it's done.
But the media won't let it go. It was a focus on the CBS Sunday morning program. Again, they keep bringing it up as if now. Let me just pretend for a second. It's as if they all knew what they did and they got caught doing what they did, lying about Joe Biden, and they all knew about his mental acuity and the fact that other people were running the presidency except for him. And they're all like, "Hey, let's let it go now. Let's make believe like nobody knew and we can forget about it." Because
did you start that sentence by saying you're going to pretend?
I did.
Because that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it is. And
there's no pretending.
Here's the latest example. So the one person that you wouldn't bring, there's probably a top 3 of people that you wouldn't bring onto a CBS show to cover, if you will, for the mental acuity of one Joe Biden. That would be Joe Biden himself.
True international average of pressure.
There's that. Probably maybe Jill Biden, because Jill knew the whole time and yet allows him still to be out in public, making speeches, doing a lot of different things that he probably shouldn't be doing and shouldn't have been doing at the time. And that's a sad state when you think about it. And then there's Bill Clinton. Well, Bill Clinton was on the CBS morning show, whatever it was, some CBS Sunday morning or Saturday morning or one of these mornings. It was a morning. That's all I know. And there he is. It's Bill Clinton, who is getting ready to now talk about how he's one of the 8,472,624 people that had no idea that there was anything wrong with Joe Biden, even though he has been in front of him, talking to him. What?
Speaking of aging, there's this book that came out that talks about Joe Biden.
We're done with the book. We're done with the book. We don't need a book. Anyway, go ahead.
And the people around him seeing that he had cognitive and physical decline.
Look at Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's like, yeah, and what do you want to know?
Did you ever have a moment with him where you thought maybe he was unfit to run?
Yeah, like a half a second, a minute, a second. Was there any time where you thought, this guy's not fit to run? And you would know, because your wife doesn't want to give up on it, you know?
You know?
I know. She doesn't give up on it. So, Bill?
For president? No.
No, D. He never had a moment where he thought, this guy can't do it. Not a second.
This guy might be the best liar I've ever met.
Oh, the greatest.
Thought he was a good president.
Thought he was a good president? Okay.
The only concern I thought he had to deal with was, could anybody do that job until they were 86?
That's the only issue you had? Okay. Now, this is getting into a really weird spot. And if you're watching at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook, you're going to know what I'm talking about. If you're not, I'll just describe what's on the screen right now. This is from the Sunday morning program. D, can you look at this still shot? I just paused the video. Is that Joe Biden and Bill Clinton deciding which one of them is going to drink out of a water fountain? What is that thing in front of them? What is that? It looks like, you want to take a drink of water? No, you go ahead and take the drink of water. Like, what is that? I don't know what that is that's sticking up there.
I don't know what that is either.
Looks like water that got caught in a snapshot. So if you're driving and you're not, you're listening to one of our great affiliates, thank you. It's Bill Clinton and Joe Biden, and they're like shaking hands, and they're both looking at what appears to be a still shot of a water fountain coming up near their mouths, and both of them looking at it like, you go first. No, you go first. I don't know what that is. Like, I really don't know. Anyway, let's let the audio play. Okay.
And we'd had several long talks. I had never seen him and walked away thinking he can't do this anymore. He was always on top of his brief.
You never saw any cognitive decline?
So I didn't know anything about any of this, and I haven't read the book.
Yeah. Let's just stop for a second. Can we stop pretending for just a half a second, please, and just get down to the crux of the issue? If you Democrats couldn't lie, I don't know what you would do with yourself. Nobody believes him. Nobody believes you. Nobody believes the media and trying to spin like we had no idea. Come on, you all knew it. Every one of you not only had an idea, but you saw the same thing we saw. It's crazy. And the other crazy part of it is I'm supposed to take this guy's advice on truth.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
That guy? So that's the guy I'm supposed to believe and trust that he's telling the truth on stuff like that. Oh man, that's pretty funny. That guy who said that thing, who's married to the woman who...
What do you think of Cory Booker's, and you didn't comment on him, and you feel free?
Oh, I adore him.
What do you think about him saying kicked him in the shins, essentially? Start to get to that kind of political...
Well, that was Eric Holder.
Yeah, Eric Holder,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know they all look alike.
No, they don't. Oh, well done.
So, which one? It's kind of like Democrat pick your poison kind of thing, politically speaking. Like, who do you want to be the purveyor of truth for you? Because you all have to stop. To stop this. Right, Joe? It's
not a joke.
I know it's not a joke. Wow. So they won't give up on it. They're still trying to spin out of it because they know they got caught, and more information is coming out and will continue to come out about who was running the show, and Auto Pen Joe, and some other things that ultimately people have to be held accountable for. That's the whole thing here too. Is like, we can't keep doing this and nobody gets held accountable. Somebody's got to go to, well, I don't know.
I am sick and tired.
So are we. It's going to say prison. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. What else do we have going on here at Florida's Voice? Hit me. Yeah, we talked about love bugs. We talked about hurricanes. Soon we're going to talk about property insurance, because obviously that's going to come up too. It's going to be something that people are going to be looking at and being concerned about with good reason. And obviously, when you look at the state of Florida, you know that we have so much. We were just talking about the awesome beaches, Delray, Clearwater, USA Today's best Florida beaches, Delray and Clearwater, fantastic places to go. So many awesome beaches, which right now, I don't know how you go to the beach. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was out yesterday. The sun finally peeked through the clouds. It was beautiful to see the rain because we need it. And it wasn't 15 minutes that the sun was beating on the back of my neck, and I thought, I'm done. That's it. I'm out. Like the one thing about the Florida heat, man, in the summer is, woo, there's nothing like it. But the beaches are beautiful. It's true. All right. So We don't need to talk about that. Coming up, some other news out there, including the latest woke news, which may or may have you shook. My name is Drew Steele. It's Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, and retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I know I'm the weirdo because I never had kids, but if it's really so great, tell me why we now literally have a product called Mom Water that consists of putting vodka in a can. Mom Water, because people stare when you take a bottle of Stoli to the playground.
All right. We're not doing that. We're not doing this. We're not talking about them. He has a point, though. Why, Mom Water? Who would buy that? And so you would feel fine having or drinking vodka out of a can if it said mom water on it? No. You know what it would be like for you, D? And for those that are listening for the first time, we'll explain this in just a second. You know what it would be like? It would be like if you went to a party this weekend and it said puppy water. Like you just couldn't handle your new puppy, who's no puppy. This dog's a freak of nature. It's like 2 months old and it weighs 60 pounds. What is this dog right now? What is it at? Where are we at with this dog?
He's 4 months, and I think he's just over 40, but we have an appointment tomorrow, and I'll get you an official weight.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature. That's what I'm thinking. Well, maybe not. I mean, but still, right? That's terrible. That, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't embarrass your puppy. Your puppy doesn't even know that you're drinking. And
embarrass the puppy, I'd embarrass myself.
Right, there you go. You wouldn't embarrass yourself or the puppy. And you got some moms that are walking around drinking something called mom water. No, I don't know. That's just a little, I know it's kind of a little awkward to even bring it up. All right, what else you got for me? So like I mentioned earlier, for some, they might see this as a negative where there's the property insurance industry is having a turnaround here in the state of Florida. The profitability is there. And I know some are saying, well, of course the profitability is there. You know how much we're paying? Yes, I know how much we pay here in the state. I get that. But at the same time, if there's no profitability at all, it's going to be really hard to get businesses or insurance companies to want to be here. And I mention this because there's a story out and it talks about how it's better for them. You want the state of Florida to be a place that is going to be attractive for the insurance industry. I mean, we need it to be. Well, of course it is. And of course they're going to come here and come back. You do what you can to make the market freer and to make it so that there's less of a government overreach on them to be able to, just like other businesses, be here, knowing full well where we live, how things work here, hurricane season's coming, the things that we have to keep an eye on. But there is this turnaround that's happening. And I bring it up because I want us to all be able to benefit from more companies coming into this state, more competition that brings the prices down. So that is ultimately going to be a good thing. The governor even was talking about today. Well, he was mentioning about hurricanes and something that he said where he's spot on. Here, check this out.
These are not easy things to deal with. I would say this, though, in spite of all the challenges.
Talk about hurricanes.
Find me another part of the country that would have bounced back as quick. You just would not see it. I mean, I know there's a lot more that needs to be done. Don't get me wrong, but most of these areas that would get hit like this, a lot of them it'd be like a lost decade, right? It would just that's typically what happens in other parts of the country.
It's true. It'd be a lost decade. It would be really tough in other areas of the country. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. It's not like Lindsey Graham is a senator in North Carolina and he never showed up to see any of the disaster areas after Helene and Milton, but instead, once again, makes a trip to Ukraine the day before there just happens to be in it. Well, I don't want to talk about that. Let's not even bring that up. Just because it happened that way doesn't mean that we should. Oh, I hear the music. We got to go take a break. All right, that's the moment where we say, we'll be back in a minute. 866-588-8303 if you want to call. My name is Drew Steele. It's Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it. No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutVaping.org.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show.
Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important.
We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies, where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you know I love the Floor Meisters in Naples. Locally family-owned business, 3 generations of Meisters. Listen, what are you looking for? Carpet, tile, hardwood, Core-Tech? Maybe that's what you're looking for. And why don't we talk to TJ Meister right now of the Floor Meisters and find out what's going on with CoreTech. What's up, TJ?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for CoreTech. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the West Coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
I tell you, I love my CoreTech floor. People love it. What is it about it that makes it so awesome?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
Floor Meisters, that's who I trust, and you should as well. 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples. 239-596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do. And
thank you for giving us the voice.
For being out there helping to keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for
your support for veterans in the military.
Educating us.
Standing up for conservatism.
Giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Do you make your kid go to school the last day of school? Do you make your kid go to school the last week of school? I don't make my kids go to school the last couple days of school. I don't see the point. Most of the teachers would rather you keep your kids home anyway, at least around here. My parents, they made us go to school every single day, all the way to the very last day of school every year. I have cleaned a lot of desks. That is what we did the last week of school when I was a kid. So what was the point of sending me to school on the last few days of school? But I'm not doing that with my kids. Stay home, baby. It's summertime. Time to go.
Why does this have to be a Florida mom? Why couldn't it be any other state in the union? Could have been anybody. Except maybe California. I wouldn't have cared. But, I mean, why does it have to be a Florida mom that's asking, why do I have to send my child to school the last week? What do you mean? So, like, that's her post on TikTok and Hey, everybody, I'm Drew Steele. Big D's on the other side of the glass. Nina's in the breaking news room, and you hanging out. If you want to watch it, FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. We do appreciate it. The great affiliates across the state of Florida. Thank you so much for listening and watching this program. We appreciate it. I just saw it's a Florida mom, and here we go. D, did you, I don't know, last week of school, do you go to school? Do you care did your parents care about you going the last week? Were they like, hey, I don't want this. It's summertime, baby. Come on. What? No. Your family never did that to you, did they? I mean,
No, I think I was there. Whether or not I spent the entire day is a different story, but I think I showed up.
And what they do in the classroom, because she was bringing up, we spent the whole time cleaning desks. Well, whatever it is, I think the teachers probably like to spend the last week. Maybe it's not so serious. Maybe it's more, just asking them to have a great summer. Maybe it's the last time they'll see them because they're graduating. Who knows what the situation is, but I don't know. And it just sounds wrong to me. What they need to concentrate on is when they come back. If you want the real down low on, and we're going to move on, I promise. But if you want the down low on this, maybe worry less about the end of the school year and worry about ramping the kids up at the beginning of the school year, because you do nothing for 3 months. You do nothing at all for 3 months, and then all of a sudden it's like, let's go, get the school books, get going, let's go. Boom. That's a tough thing to think about. You need to figure out a way to get them in, or you might have to do some stuff during the summer. I'm not saying summer school, but don't just drop everything, because you make it harder for the kids to come back. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. Maybe you have a thought on this. 866-588-8303. Monday through Friday, we are live 3 to 6 p.m. So anytime you want to call, if you have a thought on this, 866-588-8303. If you're on social media, you can call as well. Well, we would love to hear from you coming up in just a minute. As we keep an eye on the state of Florida, Brevard County Sheriff, friend of the show, Sheriff Wayne Ivey, was with the governor today, and a message to scammers who target seniors during a press conference with James F. Myers. Sorry, he wasn't with the governor. He was with the attorney general. Something that happens here in the state, something that we do very well here is identify and stop scammers and play some of the audio of what he said and the things that you need to be concerned about if you have a loved one or maybe you worried about this type of things and scams going on. And then also the latest on what took place in Colorado and the spin from Democrats is just unbelievable. And one of them was Jamie Raskin, Democrat, who somehow made what happened in Boulder, Colorado, and somebody who was in this country illegally that clearly was, yelling end Zionism and free Palestine. So we know the agenda, I believe, that somehow Molotov cocktails and throwing them at a group of people who were rallying for and hoping to see the release of hostages in Gaza. And the answer from Jamie Raskin is we need gun control. No, I'm not kidding. I'm serious about that. That was his comments. 866-588-8303. He is the Cape Crusader of Florida politics, we call him. His name is Cape Sean. He lives in Cape Coral, Southwest Florida. But because he lives in the Cape, we call him Cape Sean. And he's the man who knows so much about Florida politics that we have to give him a cape and some tights. What's up?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
It's fine. Are you eating? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, it was a poor time to bring me right in at that moment. But yes, no, I'm good now.
Have you learned nothing? That if you call the radio station, you don't eat while you're getting. All right. Anyway, finish chewing.
You think after all the times I've been on, I would know this by now.
Finish chewing. Okay. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay,
yeah. No,
good.
I was. I find it interesting. First off, with your previous, I was calling in over the whole thing that was going on with the schools and the parents keeping their kids off of the last week of school. Honestly, if it's public school, they may be wise to just keep them out for the entire year, maybe homeschool them or put them in a private school. But that's a different point.
Yeah.
But I think what you were saying about how you have that 3-month summer vacation, there are other countries that are doing far better than us educationally that don't do that type of summer vacation. And the model that I've looked at that I think would be very interesting is full year school years, but like 1 week a month where you have a week break for students as opposed to a full 9-week break in the middle of summer where you basically lose all the things you learned.
Yeah, that's as a homeschool family, and I'm a homeschool family here in the state of Florida. And listen, school choice is an amazing thing. We do education right here in the state of Florida. As a matter of fact, it is a model for people to look at. That's why we want to make sure we get it right and strengthen the choice of families. But yes, that's what we do. There's a summer break to a degree, but we don't completely abandon school altogether. We're still sitting with our son, and every once in a while we'll spend a week here or a week there. We just don't walk away from it because then it gets harder to pick up once those 3 months are gone. It's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, especially when you're a parent, the prime responsibility of the education is the parent. And so if they're going to be out during the summer, the parents should be trying to find things to do to keep their brains working and the education continuing and maintaining. Yeah. And there's a lot of opportunities and things that can be done. We here in Florida, for example, we have a lot of wonderful natural parks that can just be like science exhibits for these kids. And just the amount that you can learn even from libraries. Yeah. Just going to the library and just picking out books and reading from those books. I mean, so much of the stuff I learn is just from stuff I research independently. You really don't need school anymore if you're determined enough to learn on your own.
And to your point, and then we got to jump, Sean, but to your point, one of the things as a homeschool family that we do and have done for a long time is exactly what you're saying. During the summer, You grab, let's say when we were living in Utah, we spent a year in Utah, beautiful place. But that was it. We had to come back to Florida. But when we were there, we would go to the mountains. We'd grab a book, and he would have a sketchbook, and he would have a regular book, and we would say, listen, we'll read a little bit outside. With the weather's beautiful. And then maybe sketch what you see, and then we'll identify them in the book, the different plants and the different bugs and everything else. And all of a sudden, your enjoyment of the outdoors becomes a learning opportunity. See?
Exactly. There's so many opportunities. Hey, I hear you're on in Orlando now.
Yes, we are.
Am I correct? We just got into Orlando. I just want to say hi to all my Orlando peeps. I went to UCF there. It was a part of College Republicans, and just so hi to all of my fellow Orlando Orange County Republicans. I miss you guys, and I know how hard it is being an Orange County Republican for sure. But keep up the good fight, guys.
All right. Well, we appreciate you saying that. Cape Sean, the Cape Crusader of Florida politics, joining us. We appreciate that here on Florida's Voice. Anytime you want to call, by the way, 866-588-8303, WDBO in Orlando. We are so appreciative to be on the air with them. And also WOKV in Jacksonville today, WROD in Daytona Beach as well. And we are humbled to be a part of your programming day. We thank you so much, and thank you for listening. And like I said, anytime you want to call, 3 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, 866-588-8303. All right, some of the other things we're looking at, including the One Big Beautiful Bill. We're still talking about that, and want to make sure that the Senate is going to make some positive changes, and still there's work to do. So what kind of positive changes might we see? Brandon Arnold is joining us right now on Florida's Voice, Executive Vice President of National Taxpayers Union. Always good to hear from him and some thoughts about this. First of all, how are you, sir? How's everything?
Doing great. Great to see you again.
Good to see you too. By the way, how about that? Did you have a hard time the last week of school when you remember that when you were a Ute? There in the last week of school, how tough it was. So you go to school the last week, and it's like, oh man, and what you did and didn't do, and then ramping it up after that. As a matter of fact, 3 months off, and then all of a sudden you get back to school, and it's like, wait, I feel like I forgot everything. I don't know if that was the thing for you.
I'm terrified because I've got 2 school-age kids now, 8 and 11, and they're going to be wrapping up in just about 2.5 weeks.
Yep.
And it's going to be really fun around our house. Mixed emotions, to say the least. Tears about missing their friends, as well as excitement about the summer. And it's a very emotional experience for sure.
You bet. Speaking of mixed emotions, when you think of the One Big Beautiful Bill, you have mixed emotions. It's like, yes, we did something here that's a positive for sure. I mean, the tax cuts, by the way, the Trump tax cuts. Oh man, I can't even imagine if we didn't have those. But at the same time, there's probably some things that the Senate could do. And some tweaks here and there. I mean, nothing in this world is perfect. So what would make it better? Closer to perfect, if you will, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that's most important about this bill is stimulating economic growth. Right now, Americans are continuing to struggle. Things are too expensive in this country. We haven't gotten that economic boost that we elected Donald Trump to produce. And this is the first really big opportunity for Congress and the president to work together lockstep and produce that growth. If you look at the House bill, it's kind of lagging in that department. And one of the most important parts of the bill is extending one of the 2017 laws, pro-business, pro-growth provisions, and that is called full expensing. It is the proper way to treat big investments that companies make, whether we're talking about factories, farm equipment, manufacturing equipment. We need to treat those properly from a tax perspective, because right now we're effectively penalizing companies from expanding, our manufacturing companies, agricultural companies, so forth. We are penalizing them. Right now in the House bill, that provision is included, but only on a temporary basis. So the Senate, priority number one, make that provision permanent. That produces double the amount of economic growth relative to the House bill. That should be the first step that the Senate takes. People need to see the economy booming. They can see that, but Congress has some work to do.
Wow. So to think that, to your point, we haven't seen the kind of boom we could see. I mean, obviously, we see the slowing down of the inflation rate. We see some of the things that we heard about last week. So there's some good news out there. We would assume that a lot of that had to do with some of I guess it could be tariffs, could be maybe regulation, could be some of those things. But then we also have, Brandon, we have the discussion about Medicaid. We know how that's been going, right? The reforms depends on who you ask, right? There's some people that are saying everybody's going to lose it. There'll be none for anybody. And the hardest hit will be, and then you fill in the blank from all the, of course, the kind of talk that comes from one side of the aisle, and then you have the other, which is like, well, what about this? What about Medicaid reforms? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, if you cut a nickel from Medicaid, then people will scream bloody murder, say there'll be people dying in the streets. It's just that politically charged an environment and that popular a program. And I get it, because Medicaid is an important program when you're talking about protecting the least affluent people in this country, people who are struggling, people who might be disabled, facing conditions that prevent them from working or so forth. So I get that. But at the same time, Medicaid is a broken program. It's spending about $30 billion a year on improper payments, funds that shouldn't be going out the door. And it's using funds on things it shouldn't be using funds for, things like music lessons, gym memberships. That is not what the program is intended to do. Needless to say, some of the reforms that are getting the most attention, like removing illegal immigrants from the rolls, or removing people that are able-bodied, that have the ability to work, but for whatever reason are choosing not to, removing those folks from the rolls. I understand that's become a real lightning rod in terms of the political discourse, but I think it's an 80-20 issue. I think it just makes common sense that you shouldn't be living off the government dole if you have the ability to get out in the workforce, find employment, find insurance through a private sector, through an employer. If you can do that, you ought to be doing that. And let's leave Medicaid for the people that need it most, that can't enter the workforce.
Yeah, and I would speak on the political side of that, which is, if you are right about the way you're taking care of this with this bill, in other words, exactly what you described is exactly what the case is, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says, the demagoguing about what is not truthful. Do what needs to be done in order to strengthen it. If it's going to strengthen it, then obviously on the other side of this, all of the talk about how awful and terrible and you can imagine some of the things that some have said about it. If on the other side of it, they don't see that, and they see a stronger Medicaid, and they see something that is actually better, then you win. It's a win, and it's a win for everybody.
It is, and this was demagogued back in '96 for welfare reform. Yep. Anytime you're making changes to popular programs, it gets demagogued. But if you can first of all reform Medicaid in a common sense fashion, as we just described, and then second of all, if you can get the economy booming, as I started our conversation describing, and guess what? You're going to naturally strengthen those programs, because you're going to move people off of the government rolls, reduce the amount of money that's flowing out of Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all these popular programs, reduce the amount of money that's flowing out of these programs, and increase the amount of money, more importantly, that people are paying in taxes, because they're making more money, they're more prosperous, we're more affluent as a country. We're strengthening all of these programs, and we're making them last longer for future generations. I think that is absolutely critical. We talk about growth not in this abstract sense, but also in the day-to-day way that it affects every American by putting more money in their pocket that they earn and get to keep.
Yeah, I guess before we go, the one question then would be, and I don't know if we've talked about this before the last time we were together, but when Scott Besson said we can grow our way out of this, if we do everything right, can we? I mean, if we make sure that we Doge cut where we can, where we make sure that we get rid of the waste and fraud and some of the abuse that you describe, people who are on programs that shouldn't be, and we can lower that while also raising incomes for families, while being able to bring in more for the country, growing our way out of different situations with our taxes that maybe we hadn't seen before, because there are proactive things that are happening now that maybe people thought were third rail, didn't want to discuss, didn't want to go there. But we couldn't do this. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, growth is absolutely critical, but I don't think it's a silver bullet. I don't think we can simply grow our way out of $37 trillion in debt. I think growth is part of the solution, but along with it needs to come very significant spending reductions, reforming our programs, including our most costly programs like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, which will be tackled in this bill, looking at a comprehensive audit of the federal budget, including the Department of Defense, which is extremely popular, yet is rife with waste, You can't pass an audit. It's tried many times. We haven't been able to clear defense spending through a proper audit. So we need to put everything on the table, popular, unpopular, you name it, spending reductions plus growth. That's the secret sauce to get our economy back moving in the direction of balance and to get our economy booming again.
That's a better secret sauce than McDonald's. There, I said it. And I still don't know what it is. It's just ketchup and mayonnaise. That's all it is.
I'm pretty sure
with
ketchup
relish.
and mayonnaise.
I mean, why are we fooling everybody? Let's just be honest about what it is. It's ridiculous. All right, Brandon. Great to see you again. All the best. God bless. And looking forward to the next time we have a chance to talk, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you. And anytime you want to find out more about National Taxpayers Union, you can go to the NTU.org. NTU.org is their website. That's Brandon Arnold. He's the Executive Vice President of National Taxpayers Union. Yeah, D, is there a better sauce on a burger than a McDonald's sauce? I don't know. I mean, say what you want.
Are you talking just fast food?
Yeah.
Fast food, probably not. Obviously, restaurants have better burgers with sauces that I've had. But
I'm not
fast
talking about
food, I don't know.
I'm not talking about the meat. I'm talking about the condiment. The sauce.
So am I.
The sauce on a Big Mac is.
I haven't had it in so long, but now, oh my goodness.
Yeah, but I haven't had it in so long, but it's one of those, I hate to say this, it's crazy, maybe even creepy. It's one of those things that I haven't had in a long time, but in my mind right now, as I'm thinking about it, I know what it tastes like. Because
yes.
Nothing else tastes like it. That's right?
You're going to make me want one. And it's been so long, Drew.
I know, I can't even remember.
Don't do this to me.
Too late. I already did it. Ha! So report to me tomorrow if it's still good, because I'm not that guy. I can't go there. All right. Let's see what else is going on here at Florida's Voice. Hit me. All right. The Attorney General, James Uthmeyer of the state of Florida, announced a crackdown on scams targeting seniors and particularly those perpetrated by incarcerated individuals using contraband technology. Can you believe that? That's happening, and it's happening here. Obviously, you see it more here in the state of Florida than other places, but man, if you know someone who is vulnerable to this, don't be afraid to talk to them about, hey, look, that's a scam. Hey, listen, that's a scam. Nobody's going to do this. Nobody's going to reach out to you this way. If you have a problem, you should talk to me, or you, as it were, about it. A situation where they busted a lot of bad guys, he said, that had been using technology, cell phones, the internet, crypto, to scam seniors. Many of them individuals actually already incarcerated. And it was Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey who wanted to make mention of the fact that if you're one of these guys, I know. All right, go ahead.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
I know. Girls, people, could be anybody. Okay. What did he have to say about that? Let's see. Here it is. Go ahead.
So our message today is to, first and foremost, to the criminals. If you're going to do this type of activity, I highly recommend you do it somewhere other than the state of Florida, because our Attorney General, our Florida Department of Law Enforcement, our statewide prosecutor's office, our DOC, our local and state partners are all working together to either lock your butt up for the first time or make sure your butt stays locked up for the rest of the time that you're on this planet. If you're going to target seniors, that's exactly where you need to be.
Yep, he's right about that. And one other thing before we take a break. Look, the state of Florida does so many things well. There's a couple of things that, you can work on. Nobody's perfect. No governor is perfect. No legislature is perfect. No president is perfect. No human being is perfect. So, okay, we get that covered. We got everybody covered. But at the same time, boy, when it comes to things like this, being proactive on issues of law enforcement, proactives on for example, 287G and illegals in the state, and so many other things, hurricane preparedness, man, we do it well. We really do. And I believe this week, am I right, D? Sheriff's going to be on with us this week, I'm assuming.
Should be on with us Wednesday, yes.
So we'll definitely talk about this and some other things as well. All right. What are they working on in the Florida's Voice newsroom? I don't know. They're over there. I see them working. So let's get to them coming up in just a minute. Top of the news. We'll find out what they're working on in the Florida's Voice newsroom next.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and I have to tell you, when my wife and I talked about getting new kitchen countertops for our house, we know who to call. Rock Solid Countertops and More, 2240 JNC Boulevard in Naples. And they have been absolutely amazing. Hugo and the team are the best. The workmanship has been absolutely incredible. The install was so easy. The process was perfect. Taking everything out, bringing the new stuff in. The quartz countertop is unbelievably beautiful, and my wife is super happy, I'll tell you. You know they have the best quality and selection of marble, quartz, granite, and a one-stop shop for all of your kitchen, outdoor, and bathroom needs. I've known it for years. I've lived in Southwest Florida 40 years. There was really only one place I was going to go. It's Rock Solid Countertops and More. I would suggest you give them a call, 596-7676. They're at 2240 JNC Boulevard in Naples. Find out what they can do for you. Countertops, cabinets, plantation shutters, they do it all. Rock Solid Countertops and More.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection, and hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world, from bow and arrow to hook and bullet. As man evolved, our link to those traditions remain with them forever. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. The misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it, or leading a war against our heritage and their misguided policies and protests. They demonize hunters and belittle our way of life, the results of hunters leaving the sport in droves, while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wild lands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system, a system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, anytime you want to watch it, FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble X, and Facebook. Anytime you want to call, 866-588-8303. We are here Monday through Friday, live 3 to 6 p.m. each and every day. And on social media 24/7. By the way, if you missed the program and you want to listen to it 24/7, you can go to my personal website, drewsteele.com. Steele has 3 E's, and right there it just rolls and rolls and rolls over and over and over. I'm making it sound really bad. It's really good. Anyway, moving on. Top of the news, we call this right now.
Top of the news, Florida's headlines. Now.
What is this? This is where we go to the Florida's Voice newsroom and find out what they're working on right over there on the other side of the wall. That's Anita Padilla. She's got the latest for us in the Florida's Voice newsroom. What's up?
Hey there, Drew. Here's what's topping the news right now. A Cape Coral man facing up to 5 years in prison after he's arrested and indicted on federal charges that he allegedly threatened to kill President Donald Trump. 31-year-old Christopher Davies is facing 1 count of making threats against the president. And according to the indictment, he's accused of writing and delivering a letter to an official at the Charlotte Correctional Institute on or about March 10th. In that letter, he allegedly stated he intended to kill Trump. The case was referred to the U.S. Secret Service, and then it was prosecuted by Assistant U.S. Attorney Patrick Darcy. Davies is considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Okay, so a Democrat throws his hat into the ring for the Florida Attorney General's post, and he's already being torched by the Florida GOP. We are talking about Jose Javier Rodriguez, who several years ago served in the Florida Senate but lost his bid for re-election. Well, Evan Power of the Republican Party of Florida called him a career politician with a far-left agenda who coddles criminals and chases ambulances. Power points out that Rodriguez is the same person who filed a bill that would have gutted the death penalty in Florida for even some of the most heinous crimes. All right, starting July 1st, squatters are no longer going to be able to take over commercial businesses in Florida without suffering swift consequences. Governor Ron DeSantis just signed off on 2 new bills, Senate Bills 322 and 606. These give local sheriffs the authority to immediately remove unauthorized occupants or squatters from commercial properties like restaurants, hotels, and other businesses. He says these new laws streamline the process and protect property owners who previously had to endure a long and frustrating legal battle just to get them out. He says Florida doesn't tolerate squatters. This legislation builds on a 2024 law that he signed. That one was targeting squatters in residential homes. After seeing similar issues affecting commercial properties, lawmakers moved quickly in this past session to extend the protections to business owners as well. The new laws are designed to make enforcement faster and more effective, putting an end to squatters who've been exploiting legal loopholes to occupy private property. All right, that's it for now. Be sure to check out some of the other stories we're following for you here at Florida's Voice. Head over to our webpage or just follow us on Instagram, X, and Facebook. I'm Anita Padilla, the news director at Florida's Voice. Drew, back over to you.
All right, AP, we appreciate you there in the Florida's Voice newsroom. Anytime you want to check out, like she said, the stories, you can go to flvoicenews.com, Florida's Voice, the website. And it's all right there, and we appreciate them there so much. Once again, 866-588-8303. Anytime you want to call on Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m., we are here live, whatever's on your mind. That terrorist attack in Boulder, Colorado, Sunday that carried out attack on a pro-Israel rally in the city. And there's some serious charges right now. According to the Boulder County website, the attacker is now facing charges of first-degree assault, non-family, crimes against at-risk adult or the elderly, criminal attempt to commit Class 1 felony, criminal attempt to commit Class 2 felony, explosives or incendiary devices used during a felony. I mean, there's a long list of charges that are happening right now. The FBI, of course, on this, Kash Patel and Deputy Director Bongino on this. The White House press secretary had comments on this a little earlier today, and she was being asked, Caroline Levitt, by the press.
What can you say to the Jewish community today to ensure that the White House is doing everything they can to keep them safe after the horrific attack in Boulder, and also the 2 Israeli embassy staff who were targeted just last week here in our nation's capital?
Yeah, we have seen 2 horrific cases of anti-Semitic violence in our country in the last 2 weeks, and it is unacceptable to this president and this White House. And rest assured, to all Jewish Americans across our great country, this president has your back, and he's not going to allow anyone to take part in violent terrorism. It's acts of terrorism in our country. And that's what this case in Boulder, Colorado is being investigated as. Kudos to our FBI director, Kash Patel, for immediately calling this a targeted terrorist attack. That's clearly what it was. But I'd also like to point out that this administration has done more than any administration to curb this violence and to curb illegal immigration. We secured our border in record time, but we're also tightening up our visa process and our legal immigration process. And we know that this individual, this terrorist, was allowed into this country by the previous administration, was foolishly given a tourism visa, and then was illegally allowed to stay. These individuals are going to be deported, and we're not going to tolerate such violence in our country.
Yeah, but you can't blame Joe, can you? Because Joe really didn't know what was going on, and really Joe didn't run the country, the auto pen, and all the people that were running the auto pen ran the country, right? Yeah, that doesn't fly. No. But they did it. And yeah, there's that part of the story as well. The fact that the attacker was here in the country illegally. And there's been a lot of discussion about the uptick and what we have seen in the surge in anti-Semitic attacks. As a matter of fact, it was Fox today who was talking about this very topic.
Yeah, and that's a callback to me to the terrible incident we had in Washington, D.C., coming out of the museum, Jewish museum, where the 2 kids were gunned down by allegedly this perpetrator from Chicago, because in that instance, it shows you just where the Jewish community is right now in this country. The person who arranged the event in D.C. articulates that in order to hold that event, they had to send out the invitations encrypted. They had to keep the location secret until the last moment. They did a bunch of prophylactic things. They had a guard in the lobby out front, and yet look what still happened.
Let me just stop for a second. How can you not be horrified by that? The idea that people want to get together in the United States of America, and in order to do it and feel like they're going to be safe, they have to encrypt messages, guards at the door. They have to make sure that nobody really knows exactly where they're going to be. And it's hard to believe.
Because at the end of the day, if somebody is that committed, it's very, very hard to keep a public event like this secure.
The question about, is there a group, right? I'm wondering about how that should be defined. Right. And maybe it's not a legal question, but more of a moral one in how we deal with it. Because if you are globalizing the Intifada, and we looked at the chart that Bill just did, all the incidents that you just said, there is a larger group at stake.
Yeah, you're going, I think, to the smart point there, because we have this continuum now that has grown. I think the flash to bang has gotten shorter. We have normalized the idea of anti-Semitism. You see now anti-Semitic statements that are sometimes couched as being, oh, it's just anti-Zionist. They use that as a canard. You know anti-Semitism when you see it. And you hear stuff now that previously would have been unthinkable. You hear it in open discussion. You hear it in commencement speeches. You hear it among thousands of college students.
He's right. We've heard it. We played the audio of it last week, of the things that people are now doing openly and saying openly. And why would people say these things openly? By the way, a 900% increase isn't an attack. or an accident, as it's been described. You can't have a 900% increase in anti-Semitic attacks and think it's not indoctrination. Especially when you have students that are walking up to podiums and commencement addresses and saying it. Why? Well, not just because they believe it, but because they know the repercussions won't be there of doing anything like that. There would be more support from that campus than would be any kind of pushback. To Paul Morrow's point, the contributor there who was talking about what's happening in this country. And so how do Democrats see this? How do people, for example, like Jamie Raskin see this? Maryland representative who knows exactly what happened here and has an opportunity to go on to MSNBC to talk about this. So you have the attack on people who were pro-Israel, the marching for the release of hostages, and they're in Gaza, the hostages in Gaza, and you have the attacker with Molotov cocktails, right? Molotov bottles filled with incendiary fluid and the rags that hang out of the edge of them, right? And so what does Jamie Raskin, Democrat, think about this? And his thoughts are...
Across the country, we are still in the midst of a gun violence epidemic.
Exactly. Wait, what?
So we need to be acting with due concern for human life.
Wait, can I back that up again? Because maybe I missed something. It sounded like he's talking about gun violence.
Across the country, we are still in the midst of a gun violence epidemic.
Well, why are we talking about gun violence? There was no gun. It was Molotov cocktails. I just described what it was.
So we need to be acting with due concern for human life. I mean, this is why, of course, we have been fighting for a universal violent criminal background check. We are for a ban on military-style assault weapons.
Yeah, what is a military-style assault weapon? What is an assault weapon? What can you describe that? A military-style. Describe what that means. What does that look like? Does it look really evil? We're having this conversation right now? I just described to you what happened. He knows what happened. He saw the video, allegedly. I mean, right? And that's your comment is, we got to talk about gun control. Maybe a Democrat in the state of Florida can make sense of this. Is there anybody who could...
Marijuana?
Well, not Nikki Fried. Don't. She doesn't need to try to make sense of this. I'll ask somebody else. Maybe you. Hey, listen, maybe you're a Democrat here in the state of Florida and you listen to this program. Thank you so much. By the way, I know some of you do because I get your emails. So, okay. But if you would like to call, 866-588-8303. Would love to hear from you as we are here Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. live. But come on now. That's where we're going, to the assault weapons ban and gun control. That's where you went? By the way, speaking of which, there's a little bit of assault weapon news out there. The reason why it continues is because states are still allowed to do it, are still allowed to have these assault weapon, quote unquote, bans, even though you can't tell me what it is, what an assault weapon is and what it means. So now the Supreme Court declined to hear a challenge to a law in the state of Maryland, his state of Maryland. So now you see the connection. Maryland has assault weapons bans in place, and he's talking to his constituents when he brings that up. In other words, never letting a crisis go to waste. I don't know who does anything like that.
Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic.
Yeah, I know somebody who always did that as a habit. Yeah, they rejected a case opposing a measure which was to stop this ban on assault weapons because of how vague it is. And 3 conservative Supreme Court justices were like, look, we'll take the case up. Let's talk about this. A 4th expressed doubt about the constitutionality of laws like this, suggesting the court should revisit it in the future. All right, good. But for the time being, it's going to stay in place. And there are going to be more challenges, as there should be. Look, there's going to need to be a lot of challenges in the future. You know, we had a weekend filled with more examples of what is as it's been described, the progressive war on women. And again, allowing men to play in women's sports. And it continues. It doesn't matter if it's an 80-20 subject, which it is. But there are people who, because of the lack of repercussions, don't miss that part of it. And I just whispered like Joe Biden. Because of the lack of repercussions that continue to do this. We'll talk about that story coming up in case you didn't hear about it. It's kind of like our woke news story of the day. On the way. My name is Drew Steele, and this is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, and retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Sauvignon Blanc actually has this component in it called pyrazines that gives it this like bell peppery, almost jalapeno characteristic. So it lends itself really well to adding physical peppers. Ooh, let's give this a try. Immediately, the jalapeno just jumps out of the glass. It smells just like a mango pico de gallo. I do like spicy things. Ooh, but that is, it's really good.
No, it's not. If you're choking on something, that doesn't mean it's good. So there's a trend that's going viral on. Dee, would you like to guess what it's going viral on? Take a guess.
The talk tick.
Yeah, that's right. The talk tick, and China's going, this is hysterical. These people will do anything for money. There it is on TikTok. So people are putting jalapenos in their white wine because some lady who put it in there and says, it's kind of peppery the way the grape is. So let's put some pepper in. Well, what are you talking about? And so that's what they're doing now. And that was a sommelier, by the way, who's saying, let's try this out. I don't know. It sounded like she didn't enjoy it, but they'll keep doing it.
Yeah, I don't want to go to the winery that she's working at.
Exactly. If you're telling me that the new trend is if something has a hint of some kind of flavor in it or smells kind of sort of like something else, that you should put that something else in whatever it is that you're eating, or drinking, whatever you're consuming, that's a bad thing. Because I'm pretty sure there are some things that have smells and tastes that not only don't go together, but probably are hazardous. Although I can't name one off the top of my head, so maybe I shouldn't even have said that, because if I can't come up with one, then what am I talking about, right, Dave? No. Anyway, let's move on. What do we got for you here on Florida's Voice? All right. This is your favorite, D. This is your favorite. Guess what? Here it is. Where is? Oh man, I lost it. I've got Holy Toledo, man.
Holy Toledo.
He's back. He's got some things he wanted to talk about today. There he is, Harry Enton. It's Dee's favorite guy who's looking at the new numbers when it comes to Democrats and what they think with regard to the economy. And let's play a little of this, Dee, because this is always fun when you have a Holy Toledo guy.
After all of the waves, Kate Baldwin, after the last few months, the first 5 months of the Donald Trump presidency, right, the first 4 months of the Donald Trump presidency, that you expect that Democrats would have this massive lead on the economy.
Yep.
It ain't so. It ain't so. The party that is closest to your economic views, in November of 2023, it was the Republicans by 11 points. Now it's still within that range, still within that margin of error. Plus 8-point advantage for the Republican Party. How is that possible, Doug? Holy Toledo.
How is that possible? Wait, why?
Democrats, how is that possible after all the recession fears, after the stock market's been doing all of this, after all the tariffs that Americans are against, and Republicans still hold an 8-point lead on the economy?
Maybe because they don't listen to the left's nonsense. Maybe that's...
Are you kidding me?
No, we're not kidding.
Holy Toledo.
All right, a little more before we get a break.
If it was just this one CNN poll, that would be one thing. But take a look at Reuters Ipsos. What do we see here? Party with a better economic plan. Well, in May of 2024, just before Donald Trump was reelected president, Republicans had a 9-point advantage. Look at where we are now in May of 2025. The advantage actually went up by 3 points.
I like how Harry Enton from CNN talks to Democrats like, children, clean your room, or something like that.
Now Republicans have a 12-point advantage when it comes to the party with a better economic plan. And again, this is after months of supposed economic uncertainty.
That's because we do. We do have a better plan. Because if you were to ask any Democrat, what's your plan? What exactly do you believe in? What do you think? What do you feel when it comes to the economy? I mean,
I have the skin of an alligator.
Yeah, that's Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and that's not really what we were talking about there. But anyway, so Harry Enton shocked. Democrats continue to lose. It's a beautiful thing.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested.
Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way. No way. No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele. Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Congratulations on your show. Congratulations on your new show. Big deal, huh?
That's why shows like yours are so important.
We have an independent county elected sheriff that's the head of law enforcement in Jacksonville/Duval County. And I know how to work toward making this city safe.
We can't be shy about speaking on things such as faith and politics. We have to remember, in a free society, the public square belongs to all of us.
I'm not interested in North Florida looking like Orlando or Miami. I love where we live, but I think that good jobs means that people that live in this district can stay in this district.
Fishing and hunting is funding a large part of your conservation projects in Florida, and we want to make sure that those are forever preserved.
And the problem with this industry at this point is that they actually target our youth. You can see it in their marketing strategies, where it's bright colors, fun names.
And that's going to be endlessly litigated.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? Now might be the perfect time to go on offense and seize the opportunities presented by the new pro-business environment ushered in by President Trump and his administration. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you. They create strategies designed to help manage taxes, control risks, and boost your financial confidence. It's a forward-thinking approach that can strengthen your foundation so you can enjoy the lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve. If you're ready to see how Alfie's team can help elevate your plan, call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and discover proactive strategies to help you thrive in an ever-changing world. Again, text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Let Alfie Townsend and the Advantage Retirement Group team guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
I've been dipping snuff for well over 30 years. You know, I could wake up in the morning and have a weird lump in my gums. Guess it's like playing Russian roulette, really. I would love grandchildren. And if by quitting it extends my life some, I would gladly lay it down.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
Today, push harder, push forward, push vigorously.
There are things that I am hiding from people that I'm trying to inspire.
You can do whatever you set your mind to.
I feel like a hypocrite a lot of the times.
Don't give up on yourself ever.
Smoking, I hide it because I'm ashamed of it. I want to get out of the shadow. I want to show people there is light away from the darkness. I am going to quit.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and you know I love the Floor Meisters in Naples. Locally family-owned business, 3 generations of Meisters. Listen, what are you looking for? Carpet, tile, hardwood, Core-Tech? Maybe that's what you're looking for. And why don't we talk to TJ Meister right now of the Floor Meisters and find out what's going on with Core-Tech. What's up, TJ?
Well, we're just keeping up with the demand for Core-Tech. Just had to order a truck and bring it in from the west coast of the United States to keep up with all the needs and wants of the people of Southwest Florida. Somebody doesn't have it, give me a call. I probably do.
I tell you, I love my Core-Tech floor. People love it. What is it about it that makes it so awesome?
Well, it's waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. So if you got a pool, no problem. If you got a dog, no problem. If you got a husband that spills, no problem.
Floor Meisters, that's who I trust, and you should as well. 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples. 239-596-4964 for the Floor Meisters.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40.
Thank you for waking us all up out here, for all you do.
Thank you for giving us a voice.
For being out there helping keep the constitutional republic. I want to thank you for
Your support for veterans in the military.
educating us,
Standing up for conservatism.
giving us the truth.
Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Well, hey, everybody. So glad you're joining us today on Florida's Voice. My name is Drew Steele, Big D on the other side of the glass. There's Nina in the breaking newsroom, and you hanging out with us at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook, live 3 to 6 p.m. each and every day. Coming up, we've got a couple of woke news stories of the day we're going to get to. And also, leave it to CNN. And a CNN analyst, is this right? Is he blaming the Trump administration for the hurricane season that's about to hit, saying that it's about to be the worst in 20 years and it's Trump's... No, nobody could pull that off. Nobody could... Yeah. CNN could, and they could find somebody to do it. So, yeah, we'll have that coming up in just a bit. There's so many stories that are breaking. For those that don't know and maybe didn't hear about this, Poland elected a new president. Very interesting story, because if you're like, well, you know, we don't live in Poland, and with the election of a president, and you know, there's a left and the right, and what does it mean, and why should we be concerned about it? Oh, we should be, and here's why. Not concerned, but happy about the result, because you had a Soros-backed, if you will, versus a Trump-backed candidate, so to speak. Now, there's an important dynamic to this story, and I wanted to bring this up because, to me, this is the Trump administration at work. This is the good stuff. This is where you're like, hey, what kind of ramifications will there be? I know you're sitting around with friends and family like over the weekend, and you're like, hey, Bill, what kind of ramifications will there be? If, for example, we have some Doge cuts happening, will we see those effects around the world? Remember, D, when you were sitting with friends this weekend and you were worried about the ramifications of the lack of money for NGOs and things like that? Do you remember having
that? Was a hot topic at the wedding, for sure.
You're not very kind. Did you go to a wedding this weekend? You did?
I sure did.
Oh, no. I mean, oh, wow. Was it good? Was it a friend of yours, or was it the wife's, or how does that work?
It was a co-workers of the wives. Yeah, very good.
All right, so, and it was nice. How was the food? Was the food okay? I always worry about the food because, you know, it's...
very good for a wedding venue.
Wow. Well, that doesn't speak very kindly of people who have wedding venues. You realize that this show is big with the wedding venue people. So you might want to think about that again, especially in areas where there's resorts like Orlando, you know, Jacksonville and Daytona, different places, Naples. We were big with. So you want to rephrase that or?
No, I don't.
Fantastic. Okay. Look, follow me. Trust me. There's a method to the madness, so to speak. So in Poland, they elected a new president.
Romans, thank you. Now to Poland, where a Trump-backed candidate just won the presidential election.
So here's MSNBC, who wants to let their audience know that a Trump-backed candidate won the election. Now, you know what you're thinking. You're thinking, yes. And what they're thinking is, it's going to be global chaos, right?
NBC's Danielle Hamamdjian is reporting on that.
Yeah.
Tell us about the new president there.
Yeah, tell us, because I can't imagine it's going to be anything positive.
Yeah, Chris, Karol Nawrocki is 42 years old, a right-wing historian.
A right-wing historian. I like where this is going. Go ahead.
Trained as a boxer and has never held office before.
Are you trying to make me like him more?
During the campaign, he tried to present himself as a tough guy with posting images of himself at shooting ranges and boxing rings.
You're trying to make me love this guy. Is that it?
It's been described as a victory for European conservatives.
Ooh, a victory for European conservatives. This is getting better and better.
Inspired by Donald Trump. Nawrocki was mostly an unknown 6 months ago. In the final days of the campaign, there were numerous allegations regarding his contacts in the criminal underworld involving gangsters and prostitutes.
Of course, because nobody ever goes after a political candidate talking about gangsters and prostitutes. Like, nobody would ever do that, especially in the United States. You'd never hear of anything like a hoax perpetrated against a presidential candidate in any way, shape, or form, where it would have to do with like pee-pee tapes or anything like that in Russia. And well, yeah, we kind of had that. And I know it's a...
I am sick and tired.
Well, just because it was your fault. Anyway,
But clearly, those accusations did not harm him.
No, it didn't harm him. Maybe because the people of Poland, like the people of the United States, realize when hoaxes are perpetrated against... Now, you might be saying, well, wait a minute, hoax is perpetrated. What else do you know about this? Well, I don't know a whole lot about the story, but I know somebody who does. And let me just say this before we move on. Mike Benz is the best. He's been on this program multiple times. He is the executive director of the Foundation for Freedom Online. He was a State Department cyber guy. He is the best. And one of the things that he mentioned in on his X account was about USAID. Remember USAID? We talked about it often. And the fact that we had a president who was like, you know what, we got to do something about stopping all this money going out to all of these NGOs, and dodging things and waste, fraud, and abuse and all that kind of stuff. And it would be a shame if they got some money. Well, why? All the great things they do. Well, USAID partnered in their operations arm, NED, had been specifically demanding Donald Tusk, that was the person, the government in Poland, has to find a way to arrest high-ranking members of the party that ended up winning yesterday in order to stamp out populism. This was in February. He wrote about this, put it all out there. And then today, Mike Benz writes incredible news about the Polish election. The people behind the sick plot to stop the party, the one that did win, from winning, again, by arresting them all before Election Day, just lost and lost decisively. Without USAID money backing their puppet, they couldn't tilt the people's will. In other words, there's a reason why the left and the swamp and the blob, as he puts it, and others, were freaking out about NGOs not getting money and the funneling to Democrat candidates or leftist candidates or places across the globe, and how money was being used and abused. And this is part of it. And without that money, and without being able to lie and cheat their way into an election, guess what happened? They lost. So there are good things that are happening around the globe. And quite honestly, they're happening because Donald Trump is president of the United States. And dare I say, sorry, I've said it a million times, that it doesn't make a difference who it was in 24. If it wasn't Donald Trump, nobody was going to do any of this. The kind of breaking glass in case of emergency stuff that's been happening would not have happened with anybody. It still probably, for the most part, would have been status quo, but nobody was going to do the things on the Republican side that this president has been doing to promote what is this stabilization of different things that have gotten completely out of control in places because of money that's been spent in very bad places. All right, what else do we have going on here at Florida's Voice? Hit me. Oh, wait a minute, that's not it. Hit me with this. Okay. By the way, first time on the listening to the program, don't be scared. It's okay. It's transition music, and we go from one topic to the other. I just wanted to let people know that, of course, on this program, and as we've talked about in the past, I love the month of June. I love celebrating Pride. I do.
This month we celebrate Pride.
Yes.
In America.
God bless the USA.
I just kind of picked this month as one to celebrate the United States. I felt like it was a good thing to do. Not that there's anything else going on, but as far as that's concerned. But you know what? I love the United States of America. I love our history and George Washington and after the Revolutionary War. A lot of people thought about, wow, is he going to seize power? Is he going to be the king? And instead, what did he do? He relinquished his military commission to Congress in 1783 and went into private life, and people were like, no way, this isn't happening. And the colonists were like, way. And well, not really. I don't think they said that kind of thing. But even King George at the time said if he does this, he would, I'm paraphrasing, he would be like the greatest man in the world. And that's what he did, because he wasn't prideful. You know, somebody who is filled with pride is somebody who thinks about themselves more than they would think about, the world at large and a country. And so there it is. Just being proud of being an American and the United States. And so I just thought I would throw that out for today, because I certainly feel that way today. Some other things I feel today are that we've got a governor who gets it, a governor who understands that there are a lot of things right now that with regard to, for example, squatters today. He had legislation last year, I believe it was, talking about squatting in your private abode, if you will, your home. And today he signed anti-squatter legislation. He was in Sarasota to talk a little bit about this. And as he was bringing this up, the corporate side of it.
You're either there or you're not legally. And it should be very easy to establish. And so what you don't want is to create all this cumbersome bureaucracy so that incentivizes people to do this, knowing they don't have a right to do it, but also knowing that they can buy themselves 6 months, 9 months, a year just by all the time this goes. So on the residential, we really made it so that our local law enforcement has the tools they need to be able to evict people out of private property who don't have a right to be there. And certainly in a place like Sarasota, we have seasonal residents. You know, there's people that are gone now and they won't come back until October. Well, what would you think? You show up in October and you see some family just living in your house or something that they had no right to be there. I think you would want to just call the sheriff and say, hey, I've got somebody squatting in my house. Can you take care of it? They take care of it, and then you get to use the property. If we had California laws, you'd basically be SOL for 9 months. Like, you would have no easy recourse there.
Yeah, but who doesn't want to be more like California? I mean, I think there's probably some people who would love to make Florida, California.
Marijuana.
Oh, there's a lot of that going on. All right, so, I mean, in California. Hopefully there's not a lot about that here going on in the future either. So, anyway, what else?
So I'm really glad that we were able to do that. Now, after that happened, people said, well, you also have issues of squatting on commercial property as well. And so one of the bills I'm signing today, Senate Bill 322, that creates similar expedited procedures for unauthorized individuals occupying commercial spaces. So this provides those property owners with a streamlined process to regain possession of the property that is rightfully theirs under.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe that you would have a state that would allow something like that to take place, like a California. And not only to have a homeowner, like let's just say in Sarasota, who decides to leave for 6 months, they come back, and next thing you know, it's like, who are you? Wait, who are you? This is my place. No, this is my place. Wait a second. And then there to be no recourse whatsoever. Like, you can't call the police and have them show up. The sheriff's department can't. It seems almost incredible that there would be no recourse. Obviously, here in the state, we don't have that issue. Other places do. And most of them are run by Democrats. Weird how that works. But now the governor has signed this anti-squatter legislation in Sarasota when it comes to commercial properties. And again, one of these important issues kind of under the radar that you don't hear too often about. But make no mistake about it, that the important part of this is not just people being able to do this and finding out that there's no consequence to that. That's a big part of this story, is that you don't want to have this happen. And it's the second part, without consequence. And again, it feels like, man, how often do we talk about this? Like, every single time we talk about the things that are happening in the United States right now, whether it's the state of Florida or whether it's outside of the state, how much of it somehow, some way swirls around and makes it back to accountability. No accountability, no discipline, nobody, for example, being arrested, being held accountable. How much of the bad things that are being done happen because they know there's no repercussion at all? And we just don't do that in this state. It's been one of the hallmarks, if you will, of this governor and the legislature, which is being so proactive in getting ahead of any of those kind of issues that could pop. It's such a good thing to see. So, it's good to see it. All right. What else do we have? I'm just looking at there's so many stories that are popping right now, and I just don't know where to begin. All right. I talked about this, so let's get to this one because it's Florida related. It's Trump related. And so
to 2000.
All right. Well, that's not it. There it is. All right. So I brought it up earlier. Let's play this video. Stories that CNN is watching today. One of them has to do with NOAA and talking about the next wave of hurricanes that could be coming our way in the United States. Being prepared for that. We've talked about it the past few days, especially because last week you had Senator Rick Scott out, among others, the governor, and being prepared, being ready. Kevin Guthrie talking about this as well. We all know that we should be ready. But ready for what? I don't know. Let's find out from CNN what they think it means to be ready and whose fault it is.
Hurricane season has officially kicked off,
yep.
But we are now seeing cuts at FEMA. We are seeing cuts at NOAA. And
so we're seeing cuts at FEMA and NOAA. Hurricane season. All right, so go ahead.
Notably,
so these were the Doge cuts, which we've talked about a lot, right?
Doge cuts, the residual of that.
You mean the waste, fraud, and abuse cuts? The waste and the fraud and the abuse, those kind of cuts. Not like there's anything that's being cut from services that are needed. Maybe it's duplicitous. Maybe there's some waste there, but you don't understand. We've had to get rid of. Well, maybe you didn't need all of those people to do said job. I don't know. Seems like a point that could be made.
Craig Fugate, a former leader of FEMA over the weekend, warning in the...
Wait, hey, if this was... Who was it again? It's...
FEMA over the weekend.
No. Let me start from here. Okay, go ahead.
Of that. Craig Fugate, a former...
Craig Fugate. Hey, do me a favor. Somebody in the newsroom. Craig Fugate, the former director...
Former leader of FEMA over...
Former leader of... NOAA? Is that what it is? Oh, FEMA. Fugate, former leader of FEMA. Look that up. What's your name? I'm looking right at you, Nina. I'm sorry. What's your name? You've been working for me for how long? And it's like I forgot your name in an instant. I'm so sorry. That's the way the show goes. Sometimes I see people that I've known for 20 years, and it's like, what's your name again? Sorry. Hey, look that up. Fugate, FEMA, which administration? I'm just wondering, because if you're asking them, I'm wondering if they were brought in during like Obama or Biden. Anyway, let's see.
For the weekend, warning in the Associated Press that he has concerns that this is going to be a liken to 2005, notably the year of Katrina.
Okay, so they're looking at this year like Katrina because we have to go to the top of the top when it comes to the worst, right? It could be that bad.
Because of essentially the brain drain at FEMA and the folks that have knowledge of how to navigate these disasters.
So the brain drain that they're talking about is the reason why we're going to have a 2005 Katrina incident this year. And that's what sometimes it's hard to follow the logic. Now, I know what you lefties out there are saying in the state of Florida. Oh, thank you, Derek. The Obama administration. How did I know that the person that CNN would go to get the worst possible scenario and news on what could be happening here in the country with regard to hurricanes would be somebody that would be part of or brought in through the Obama administration?
Get your hands out of my fryers.
I don't have them. So there you go. And I know the Florida lefties are like, no, you don't understand. We're not going to be able to handle a hurricane because of what Trump did with FEMA and well, not NOAA, with NOAA too, because how are we going to know? I don't know. How will we possibly know? There are no meteorologists across the state of Florida who have any idea what they're talking about when it comes to hurricanes in these independent newsrooms across the state of no clue. So there's none of them. And there's no other place to go. And the cuts at NOAA are, well, what are they specifically? It's interesting how oftentimes you hear about the cuts at FEMA and NOAA, and then you hear the worst case scenario, but then you never see if it was duplicitous. You never see whether or not they would be able to function, survive. I mean, if you go to lefty publications like the Tampa Bay Times and the Orlando Sentinel and some of those, certainly you're going to hear about how it's just, I don't know, the sky is falling all over chickens. Is that right? Wasn't that Chicken Little? The sky's falling, D? Chicken Little, sky's falling.
You nailed it.
Yep, that's right. So the sky's falling on chickens. What about the roosters? What about the rest of us? Why is it always got to be about the sky falling on chickens? What about me? Anyway, that was a weird pivot. The point is, stop it. You wonder why people don't trust you and don't want to watch and don't want to listen is because you can't be trusted, and you do it to yourself, these news organizations. Stop doing it. They won't. All right. Before we go to break, let me see if I can find this one story. All right. I guess no. I don't want to do that one right now. Yeah, I know. I promised the woke news story of the day, and I'm sorry. I'm just not ready for the woke news story just yet. But I guess no, that's not it. Don't worry about it. I'll pivot to this. Anytime you want to watch NFL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook, anytime you want to call 866-588-8303. I kind of wanted to show this video before we go to break, and I know this is something you'll see at FL Voice News, but I want to describe this as well. D, I didn't prepare you for this, but this popped up on my feed, and I thought it was
I've seen this.
Oh, you've seen this? Okay.
I love this.
So, well, we don't love it. All right, so let's describe this quickly.
Something's going on with Cox's eye. She reacted immediately. Maybe some dirt coming off the ball.
Softball game, ladies softball game. I guess it's a college. Is it the College World Series? Is that what it is? Softball? And the catcher comes away from the plate and she's rubbing her eye and it was just a regular pitch. There was nothing special about it. Went right in the glove. It looked like it was a strike and she's rubbing her eye. Come to find out that in slow motion, because of technology, thanks to Al Gore, I thank Al Gore for all technology. Yeah, the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City, the ball hit in midair a piece of dirt that got kicked up from her shoe. The ball hits the dirt, and the dirt flies.
Ooh. Wow.
Boom! Flies right into her eye, and you can see it on the video. So you saw that already over the weekend, D, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Brings me back to the Randy Johnson bird moment.
Oh, you had to bring that up, didn't you? I was kind of hoping we were going to avoid that. I already talked about chickens. I thought I gave you enough bird talk for one segment, and instead you pivoted to the Randy Johnson bird baseball incident. You had to go there, right? You had to make it bloody and gory. Here I'm talking about dirt in her eye, and she's fine, and you had to go for the blood and guts. Sorry. Well,
that's me.
Yeah, that's you. Sorry. All right. I know what a lot of you who are listening are thinking. You're thinking, wow, what an odd way to get into the next segment. I know. We got to go to break now. But when we come back, it's something we do each and every day at 5:35. It's the top 5 audio clips of the day. It's my top 5. And then we'll have the woke news story of the day and all kinds of stuff coming up. My name is Drew Steele, and this right here is Florida's Voice.
You're You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Drew Steele, and I have to tell you, when my wife and I talked about getting new kitchen countertops for our house, we know who to call. Rock Solid Countertops and More, 2240 JNC Boulevard in Naples. And they have been absolutely amazing. Hugo and the team are the best. The workmanship has been absolutely incredible. The install was so easy. The process was perfect. Taking everything out, bringing the new stuff in. The quartz countertop is unbelievably beautiful, and my wife is super happy, I'll tell you. You know they have the best quality and selection of marble, quartz, granite, and a one-stop shop for all of your kitchen, outdoor, and bathroom needs. I've known it for years. I've lived in Southwest Florida 40 years. There was really only one place I was going to go. It's Rock Solid Countertops and More. I would suggest you give them a call, 596-7676. They're at 2240 JNC Boulevard in Naples. Find out what they can do for you. Countertops, cabinets, plantation shutters, they do it all. Rock Solid Countertops and More.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into. And that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Since the dawn of time, man and wildlife have shared a connection, and hunting traditions passed down from generation to generation have connected man to the natural world, from bow and arrow to hook and bullet. As man evolved, our link to those traditions remain with them forever. Yet today, our basic instinct to provide and as part of the hunt to conserve and appreciate the natural world has fallen under attack for the first time in human history. The misguided politicians and radical activists pushing an agenda to end hunting as we know it, or leading a war against our heritage and their misguided policies and protests. They demonize hunters and belittle our way of life, the results of hunters leaving the sport in droves, while our wildlife and ecosystems suffer the consequences as conservation funding dries up. Named after the father of the North American model for wildlife conservation, the International Order of T. Roosevelt is fighting in the arena to protect and expand the rights of hunters everywhere. We will fight back against these forces to make sure that every American has a right to hunt, enshrined in their state constitutions. We will educate the next generation in our traditions and seek to expand accessibility so that everyone can enjoy our pastimes. And we will continue to hold true to our namesake's efforts to protect, preserve, and ensure open access to our nation's wild lands. Teddy Roosevelt's vision for American conservation defines our modern hunting and conservation system, a system upheld by the idea that conservation efforts are crucial to our hunting way of life, and that hunters are crucial to successful conservation.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, are you still playing defense with your money? It's time to shift gears and seize the fresh opportunities this new pro-business environment has to offer. That's exactly what certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and the team at Advantage Retirement Group do for high net worth investors like you, helping you go on the offense with advanced tax strategies, thoughtful risk management, and forward-thinking financial planning. Imagine enjoying the retirement lifestyle you've worked so hard to achieve, all while staying one step ahead, and in a changing world, you've got to do it. Alfie and his team design personalized strategies to strengthen your financial foundation so you can focus on living life on your terms. Ready to find out more? Text VISIT to 239-747-7470. Again, you can call or text 239-747-7470. Schedule your one-on-one consultation today and see how a proactive approach can help you thrive no matter what the market does next. Don't wait. Call or text VISIT to 239-747-7470 right now.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
All right, anytime you want to watch at FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook. And a big thank you to all of our affiliates across the state of Florida, especially a big hello right now to all of our new affiliates who have allowed us to be part of their programming day, as we are humbled. Thank you so much. WDBO in Orlando, WOKV in Jacksonville, WROD in Daytona Beach. We do appreciate you so much. All right, we do this each and every day at 5:35. It's the top 5 audio clips of the day. It's my top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Drew's top 5. Number 5.
Yeah, so it's going to vary a little bit by state. In general, states are not great at knowing about what people are doing with their time. I'm not sure that we want a surveillance state that knows exactly how I'm spending each hour of my day. In some cases, the state will know, okay, we have records of this person being on payroll, but say you're an Uber driver, an independent contractor. The state doesn't know how many hours you're working, so you're going to have to file some sort of paperwork. We don't know exactly what that looks like yet.
Okay, so this is a conversation on CNN about Medicaid cuts and how they're going to affect people. And that's a Democrat, Professor Adriana McIntyre. She's from Harvard, so I'm just assuming that she's a Democrat. I know, crazy me, who's opposed to the work requirements for Medicaid eligibility because, well, then we're going to have them do the paperwork. I want you to hear that again. The reason why they are concerned about anything that has to do with changes there in Medicaid is because paperwork, as if that's the reason why we shouldn't have any changes, because we would hate to. You can't be serious right now.
Number 4.
There's a big push right now on ICE to go ahead and identify all these individuals that have overstayed their visas. We have millions that have come in. All across the last administration that have overstayed their visas and overstayed their welcome. And one of the main missions of ICE is to go ahead and arrest anyone that we can take an enforcement action on that has violated immigration law. And violating their visa and violating that commitment to leave on time is one of those enforcement actions. And we're focused on that. And like your point, we want to go ahead and we make sure we take these bad actors out of the country before anything like this could happen. Because under the last administration, the screening just wasn't there. We don't have the intent of what a lot of these people came for. While many may have came for the American dream, a lot have come here to commit crime, commit terrorist acts, or just not be the person we want in our neighborhood. So.
That is Todd Lyons, the acting ICE director, who was talking about the fact that we discovered that the immigrant suspect in Boulder, Colorado, easy for me to say, overstayed a visa before this attack. And just reinforcing once again what people have said, which is, look, we have a situation here with this. We have a situation in this country when it comes to people who are overstaying visas, the reasons why they're doing it. Not everybody is here for a better life. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if we're going to be realistic about what's happening, they're not here legally. And so we have to take steps to ensure that not only the criminals are gone, but we also have to be able to deport, to have people come back to this country legally. That's, it seems for a lot of people that's a lot to ask. But at the end of the day, and I said the end of the day twice, it's not.
Number 3.
Speaking of aging, there's this book that came out that talks about Joe Biden and the people around him seeing that he had cognitive and physical decline. Did you ever have a moment with him where you thought maybe he was unfit to run for president? No.
I thought he was a good president. The only concern I thought he had to deal with was, could anybody do that job until they were 86? And we'd had several long talks. I had never seen him and walked away thinking he can't do this anymore. He was always on top of his brief.
You never saw any cognitive decline?
You know, when you think, man, I need to go to somebody with morals and virtue and someone who I can trust to get the truth, I always think Bill Clinton. I can't even say that with a straight face. They didn't really do that. Yes, they did. So CBS said, hey, you know, the whole Joe Biden, we didn't realize his mental acuity was the way it is. We thought he was absolutely fine. And, who knew? And nobody knew. As a matter of fact, let's bring Bill Clinton in, of all people, to tell everybody that, yeah, I had no idea either. I didn't know what was going on there. Everything seemed fine to me. He seemed good. And so we bring in Bill Clinton because he's the arbiter of all things truthful and moral and virtuous. What has happened to us?
Number 2.
Rights are really important. If you don't have private property rights, you cannot have a free society. Our founding fathers believe that. You have to have things that are outside the control and direction of the government. That's part of the reason why we're so interested in taking on property taxes, because I think if you own your home, you know, at some point for them to tax you for decades on property that you've already purchased and own outright, that undercuts the idea of having private property rights. And so we're fighting that fight, and we're going to continue doing a lot on that in the coming days, weeks, and months. But as a whole, you have to have rule of law, and you have to have enforcement for private property rights. And
so that is the governor of the great state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, who has no tolerance for squatters, as a podium says right there, an event in Sarasota, where he has signed legislation just like what he signed last legislative session that had to do with squatting in private homes. These squatters that come along, and next thing you know, you're away for 6 months, and you come back, and it's like, who are you? It's like, who are you? No. Doesn't work that way here in the state of Florida. And now we also have laws against squatters in commercial buildings on commercial property, which you would imagine that seems kind of logical that everybody would do that. Well, not everybody is Florida, and they should be.
Number 1.
Authorities releasing the charges for the man accused of setting 8 people on fire in that targeted terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. Officials say he's now being charged with a hate crime that's federally. And this is what they found. They found at least 14 unlit Molotov cocktails on his person, along with that makeshift flamethrower. The Molotovs comprised of glass wine carafe bottles or ball jars containing clear liquid, and red rags hanging out of the bottles. He made these himself. In fact, it says that he researched on YouTube how to do this. And later, during an interview with the officials, the suspect stated outright, and he's talking, he stated he wanted to, quote, kill all Zionist people and wished they were all dead. He also stated that he would do it again. Emily, he also said during this interview he specifically targeted the Zionist group that had gathered in Boulder. He knew they planned to meet that day, Sunday at 1 p.m. He arrived at 12:55 and waited for them.
Oh, wow. So that's the latest. That came a little earlier today from Fox News as the criminal alien terrorist in Boulder, let in under the former administration, has been charged with a hate crime. 14 Molotov cocktails found near the scene. Benny Johnson's reporting, too, that there was USAID paperwork discovered in his vehicle. Whoa.
Drew's Top 5.
Yeah, I don't know how much more we will find out. As if it's not disturbing enough with regard to this. And obviously you've got the FBI Director Kash Patel, the Deputy Director Bongino, saying that the FBI is investigating the case as ideologically motivated violence, which could mean that there will be even more charges forthcoming at the federal level against this individual. And you pray for the people affected by all of this. I know there's one still in critical condition. There's even Boulder police saying that there's murder charges, although no one from last check I know has died from this attack. But it's horrible, horrific, and once again reinforces that notion of things that happen in this country that are unfortunate, that would not have happened if not for what was an open, porous border, and people coming into this country illegally, and the intentions of those people, and the way that we have, and we talked about it a little earlier, and I don't know if I have this video. Yeah. The numbers that are out with the surge in anti-Semitic attacks. And that was something that was mentioned on Fox. And we played this a little earlier. Let's play this video once again. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Incidents that you just said, there is a larger group at stake.
Yeah, you're going, I think, to the smart point there, because we have this continuum now that has grown. I think the flash to bang has gotten shorter. We have normalized the idea of anti-Semitism. You see now anti-Semitic statements that are sometimes couched as being, oh, it's just anti-Zionist. They use that as a canard. You know anti-Semitism when you see it. And you hear stuff now that previously would have been unthinkable. You hear it in open discussion. You hear it in commencement speeches. You hear it among thousands of college students who know nothing about history, and as I've said on this show, couldn't find Gaza on a map of Gaza. It's just a cause celeb. And so all you need is somebody who has that little bit of a cognitive aperture, an opening for this stuff to get in there, to fester. It becomes the reason everything else that's wrong in their life happened. And
he's right. That's Paul Morrow, Fox News contributor, talking about it. And once again, the bottom line of the story, which he brings up, part of the bottom line of the story, that when it comes to how much this has grown and festered, 900% increase in anti-Semitic attacks. He's a former NYPD officer. As he says, look, we've normalized the idea of anti-Semitism. You hear stuff now you previously would not hear. It would be unthinkable. People at commencement addresses saying these things because there's no pushback. There's no repercussion. It's normalized. Is that indoctrination of young people on college campuses who not only are allowed to speak this way, but encouraged to do that and then some? These are all the things that we have to have, talk about a conversation and an open debate about. We really do. We really do have to have this open discussion about this and so many other things. And we will. We absolutely will. All right, what else is going on here at Florida's Voice? Hit me. Seeing some of the stories that are out there right now, keeping an eye on some of the breaking news. I know we were looking at, and somebody had said to me, and they sent me an article on this. So is woke over? Woke over as far as, well, can we do this right now? Let's do a woke news update.
This is Woke News Today with your host, Drew Steele.
Thanks, Biff. The article talks about how today you'd have a hard time finding businesses who have done what they did last Pride Month, which is everybody changing their logos, talking about it, major corporations promoting it. Try to find one right now. Major businesses that once had logos, pride flags all over. Seems like there aren't as many as there were. A list like Microsoft, IBM, Xbox, Target, Starbucks, supposedly, as of this moment, don't have anything there. There's only a few. I'm looking at one right now from the Satanic Temple. I'm not kidding. It says Hail Pride, wishing everyone a safe and happy Pride Month. That's from the Satanic Temple. I'm just going to leave this one right here. Oh, as I hear the music, we have to go to a break. Just thought it was unusual. It seems like there's a little bit of a change going on.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Hey, it's Drew Steele. Look, if you're looking to take advantage of today's pro-business environment and strengthen your financial future, certified financial planner professional Alfie Townsend and his team at Advantage Retirement Group have got you covered. They specialize in advanced tax strategies, risk management, and retirement planning, all aimed at helping high net worth investors like you thrive. Now, Alfie wants to share those insights with you with his book, Keeping You on the Retirement Fairway. It's packed with practical tips and forward-thinking strategies to help you make the most out of your hard-earned wealth. Ready to get your free copy? Text BOOK to 239-747-7470. That's 239-747-7470. Don't wait. Learn how to capitalize on that pro-business opportunities that are out there right now and secure the confident retirement you deserve. Once again, text BOOK to 239-747-7470 right now, and let Alfie Townsend and Advantage Retirement Group help guide you toward a stronger, more confident financial future.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today. We're with Liam after his 4th military move, when being new is starting to get old. We're with Tara during the holidays, when she misses home the most. We're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Now, back to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
Something that happened in the blink of an eye. There was a split in the belts. One officer went toward one direction, one went toward the other direction. One of them was able to observe the child as the child was approaching one of the X-ray units.
No. Oh, my. Oh, no. Did you hear about this story? The cops in Jersey rescued a 2-year-old, climbed onto a luggage belt at Newark. Kid went down the chute at the end of the belt. 2 cops were walking by, and one of them grabbed the kid right before they went through the X-ray machine. The kid's fine. Everybody's fine. But, oh, my. That was the president of the Port Authority Police Union who was like, yeah, that just happened.
Is that a parenting problem?
That is I'd say that... Listen, the kid's fine. So that's the good news. The bad news is it almost makes me think that those kid bracelets with the wire thing on it, like the leash for kids, kind of makes sense now. Remember that, where you had the leash for the kids, where you have, it's one end is on your wrist and one's on their wrist?
I don't remember that one. I've seen the ones today where you walk around Disney and you see the kid have a backpack on and the leash connects to the parents'
Yeah, you
hand.
don't. No, that's cruel. That's especially if you're walking around Disney, Universal, Legoland. I'd say them all. SeaWorld. You just gotta cover them all. Who am I missing? Yeah. Bad idea. That's a bad look. You don't do that. But well, I don't know. Do you? Oh, you see what we've started here? This is like a phone conversation, and we don't have enough time. I'll throw the phone number out, 866-588-8303. Even if you missed today and you want to call tomorrow and revisit this topic, you're more than welcome to do that. But the child leash thing, to me, is, I mean, in an airport, maybe because of that situation with the luggage belt. But then when you go to a theme park, I mean, talk about losing your child, but then how do you do the leash thing? Because then people can't walk in between you. Then it gets in the way. It's like it's like not using an umbrella in a theme park. And people do that. They go with the umbrellas, and they'll put it out because they're trying to block the sun, not because it's raining. Like, not everybody's using the umbrella, but there's one person that wants to use the umbrella because it's too hot for them, and they're in Florida in the summer. I mean, hello. But they use the umbrella. It's like, don't do that, because you can hurt somebody with the end of the umbrellas. And by the way, the other thing about umbrellas, it's 2025. We put people on different, well, we don't put people on planets. We did that before. We're soon to be putting people on Mars. We've got drones that blow things up. We've got satellites in space that bring you internet. We don't have any way to make an umbrella without the sticky things on the end to poke somebody's eye? Or do they have umbrellas like that? I've never seen one. Have you ever seen an umbrella without the point on the end of it?
I have not.
Exactly. I'm trying to give people $1 million ideas. Somebody listening to the sound of my voice. We live in one of the rainy places in the country. Come on now. It would be fantastic. Here's an umbrella without the pokey thing, and nobody has to worry about getting stuck. There's got to be a way to do it, unless somebody already has it. Yeah. Nina, look that up in the breaking news room. Try to find out if somebody makes an umbrella without the sticky ends. You know, the pointy ends. That's all. You can make with points or without points. But a lot of lessons learned today. Valuable lessons, kids. Don't walk around Disney with an umbrella. And tell your parents you don't want to use the leash thingy. And don't do drugs. And say no to any amendment that has to do with abortion or legalizing marijuana. Just there you go. It's all of that. Great advice. All right, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, hearing from you tomorrow. Hopefully you'll be listening. FL Voice News on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook anytime you want to watch. My name is Drew Steele, and this is Florida's Voice.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way. No way. No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
You're listening to Florida's Voice with Drew Steele.